French Grand Prix was held on the road circuit at Clermont-Ferrand. Jackie Stewart had recovered from his ulcer, and the big news was that the Tyrrell team had a new car which Sever would drive. There was also a third Lotus driven by South African David Charlton, but it failed to qualify. Stewart's plan was to rely on his knowledge of the circuit to keep him competitive in the older car.
Why don't we do one turn? It's the only way I can feel it. It's okay, the gear change is still bad even though I do it slowly.
The teams were all discussing tactics for a circuit based on public roads, a format that required them to get used to a crowded pit lane, as Nicky Lauda was to find out. At least the visitors, like veteran British driver Raymond Mays, could get close to the action. Keeping an eye on the action behind him was Chris Amon. He had a new, lighter Matra this weekend, so new the mirrors hadn't been fitted yet.
Moving on to the final grid position now, in the same order.
On the track, the tight corner just before the pits saw plenty of embarrassed drivers. But no one was more embarrassed than Francois Sever, who spun and bent the brand new Tyrrell and then had to explain himself to the team owner. Francois thought it was a mechanical problem. Ken didn't. In the older Tyrrell, Stewart was going well, but he was his usual analytical self, always wanting to do better.
Yeah, I think so. I've got a back-end problem when I get out of the corner, but the biggest problem is pointing the car. I can't point the car in all these corners going down the hill. The car's sliding over the road rather than biting into it.
The start, with Amon and Hulme in an all-Kiwi front row, Stewart and Eakes behind. But watch the red car on the right. It's the March driven by Ronnie Peterson. Amon had qualified 0.8 of a second faster than Hulme and over 1.5 seconds faster than Stewart. The new Matra was obviously very good and he had no problems keeping ahead of the chasing pair. Clermont-Ferrand is the home of Michelin tyres, but in 1972 the company had no interest in Grand Prix racing. This meant that the big money battle between the American giants of Goodyear and Firestone was taking place in the backyard of their biggest commercial competitor. This year Goodyear, with the first 3 cars, was ahead, while Eakes was the leading Firestone runner. The French company was just an interested observer, but it wouldn't stay that way. Then time began to play a major part in the race. Walker's retirement of the second Lotus was mechanical, but other cars all suffered punctures. Amon was first, then in came Hulme, followed by Patrick Depailler in his first Grand Prix with Tyrrell. The punctures were caused by sharp stones from the edges of the track, and after Eakes also became a victim, the Tyrrell pit warned Stewart, now in the lead, of the danger. Driving precisely to avoid damaging his tyres, Stewart held his lead to the flag, keeping ahead of Fittipaldi and somehow, it seems, causing the official with the flag a degree of happiness. As Jackie was welcomed by a cheering crowd and showers of champagne, there were many in the pits feeling sympathy for Chris Amon. The unluckiest man in racing drove back through the field after his puncture to finish third, but a trip in a Rolls-Royce was no consolation for losing an almost certain win.